Right now, as you're watching this video, the United States is following the exact same pattern that destroyed Rome, the British Empire, and every other superpower in history. And here's what's terrifying. We're not at the beginning of this collapse. We're at stage 5 out of 7. Most Americans have no idea what's coming next, but by the end of this video, you'll see the warning signs everywhere. I'm going to show you the 7 stages of empire collapse that historians have identified across thousands of years, and why what's happening in America right now isn't just similar to past empires, it's identical. Before we dive deep into this, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Finance Shield, because this information could change how you see everything happening around you. Let's start at the beginning. Every empire in history follows the same pattern, and it always starts with stage 1, the age of pioneers and conquest. This is when a nation is young, hungry, and united by a common purpose. The people are tough, they work hard, and they're willing to sacrifice for a greater vision. Think about America in its early days. Farmers, inventors, builders, all working together to create something bigger than themselves. The focus is on production, not consumption. The military is strong because the people are strong. There's a shared identity and shared values. This stage built the foundation of every great empire, including the United States. But here's the problem. This stage never lasts forever, because success breeds comfort, and comfort breeds the next stage. Stage 2 is the age of commerce and wealth creation. This is when the empire starts to enjoy the fruits of its hard work. Trade routes open up, businesses flourish, and money starts flowing in from all directions. America experienced this powerfully after World War II, when it became the world's economic superpower. The dollar became the global reserve currency, American products were everywhere, and the middle class exploded. This is still a healthy stage because the nation is producing real value and creating real wealth. Innovation is booming, education is valued, and people still believe in hard work. But something subtle starts to shift during this stage. The generation that built everything begins to pass away, and the new generation grows up in comfort. They didn't experience the struggle, so they don't fully appreciate what it took to get here. And this leads directly to stage 3. Stage 3 is where abundance turns into overconfidence. The empire is now rich beyond imagination, and people start to believe that prosperity is permanent and automatic. They forget that wealth has to be earned and maintained. We see this clearly in modern America. Credit card debt, government debt, personal debt, all at record levels. People are living beyond their means because they assume the good times will keep rolling forever. The military is still strong, but fewer people want to serve because why risk your life when you can make money more easily doing something else? At Finance Shield, we analyze these patterns because understanding history is the only way to prepare for the future. During this stage, universities shift from teaching practical skills to teaching abstract theories. Entertainment becomes more important than education. Luxury becomes normal, and people start to see comfort as a right rather than something to be earned. The society is still functional, still powerful, but the cracks are starting to show. And those cracks lead to stage 4. Stage 4 is when intellectual decay and internal division take hold. This is where things get dangerous. The empire is still wealthy and still powerful on the outside, but internally, it's tearing itself apart. People stop debating ideas and start attacking each other personally. Every issue becomes tribal. You're either with us or against us. Truth becomes less important than winning the argument. Does this sound familiar? America is deep into this stage right now. The media is more polarized than ever. Social media algorithms push people into echo chambers, and families are divided over politics. Educational standards are dropping, while everyone argues about what should be taught instead of how to teach it better. The national debt keeps growing, but nobody wants to make the hard choices to fix it because those choices might cost them votes or popularity. Meanwhile, other nations are watching and preparing. History shows us that when an empire is fighting itself, it can't effectively fight external threats. Rome was dealing with internal political chaos when the barbarians came. The British Empire was exhausted from internal conflicts when it lost its colonies. And America right now is so focused on internal battles that it's missing the bigger picture. This brings us to stage 5. And this is where America is right now, the age of currency debasement and financial manipulation. Every empire that collapsed went through this exact stage, and it's always the beginning of the end. Here's what happens. The government has spent so much money that it can't pay its bills through normal taxation, so it starts playing games with the currency. In ancient Rome, they literally shaved down coins and mixed precious metals with cheaper metals to make more money. The result was massive inflation that destroyed the middle class. America is doing the digital version of the exact same thing. Since the year 2000, the Federal Reserve has printed trillions of dollars out of thin air. Quantitative easing, stimulus packages, bailouts, these are just modern names for currency debasement. And the effects are identical to what happened in Rome. The price of basic goods keeps rising while wages stay flat. Young people can't afford to buy homes even though they're working full-time jobs. The wealth gap between the rich and everyone else is wider than it's been in a century. If you haven't already, please take a second to like this video and drop a comment telling me if you're seeing these patterns in your own life, because engagement helps us reach more people who need to understand what's coming. The really scary part about stage 5 is that most people don't understand what's happening to them. They think prices are rising because of greedy corporations or supply chain issues, and those factors play a role, but the deeper cause is currency debasement. When you create trillions of new dollars, each existing dollar becomes worth less. It's mathematical. Your savings lose value while you sleep. And here's what history teaches us. Once an empire reaches this stage, it's almost impossible to reverse course, because the government becomes addicted to printing money. Cutting spending means angry voters. Raising taxes means angry voters. So they take the path of least resistance and just create more money, which makes the problem worse, which forces them to create even more money. It's a death spiral, and America is in it right now. Stage 6 is the loss of military and economic dominance. This is what comes after financial games stop working. The empire can no longer afford to maintain its military at full strength. Allies start to doubt whether the empire can protect them, so they make deals with rising powers. Trade partners start using other currencies because they don't trust the empire's money anymore. We're starting to see early signs of this with America. Countries like China and Russia are creating alternatives to the dollar for international trade. The BRICS nations are talking about a new reserve currency. American military recruitment is down, and the equipment is aging because everything costs more than the budget allows. Now, America hasn't fully reached stage 6 yet, and that's important to understand. The US military is still the most powerful in the world, and the dollar is still the global reserve currency. But the trend is clear, and trends tend to accelerate once they start. Stage 7 is the final collapse, and this is what we want to avoid. This is when the empire loses its ability to function as a unified nation. In some cases like Rome, it means actual invasion and conquest. In other cases like the British Empire, it means a rapid loss of territory and influence until the empire becomes just another country. The Soviet Union experienced this stage when it broke apart into separate nations almost overnight. An empire at stage 7 faces some combination of these crises: hyperinflation that makes the currency worthless, military defeats that show the empire can't defend itself anymore, internal breakup where regions decide they're better off independent, or social chaos where institutions stop functioning and it's every group for themselves. So here's the critical question: can America avoid stages 6 and 7? History says it's possible, but extremely difficult. It requires the kind of leadership and national unity that's very rare, especially in stage 5. It means making painful economic choices now to avoid catastrophic consequences later. It means reducing debt instead of increasing it, even though that's politically unpopular. It means rebuilding manufacturing and production instead of relying on financial engineering. It means investing in education and infrastructure instead of consumption and entertainment. Most importantly, it means Americans would need to stop fighting each other long enough to recognize the real threat and work together to address it. And right now, that seems like the hardest part of all. Every issue, no matter how small, becomes a battle between left and right, red and blue, us and them. This is exactly what happened to Rome in its final centuries. Now, I know this is heavy information, and you might be wondering what you should do with it. Understanding these patterns doesn't mean you should panic, but it does mean you should prepare. History shows that individuals and families can thrive even when empires are struggling if they make smart decisions. Focus on building real skills that have value regardless of economic conditions. Reduce personal debt because debt becomes crushing when currencies are debased. Diversify your assets instead of keeping everything in one form. Build strong communities because social connections matter more during difficult times than during easy ones. And most importantly, stay informed about what's really happening, not just what the headlines say. Here at Finance Shield, we're going to keep analyzing these patterns and helping you understand what they mean for your future. The 7-stage collapse pattern, in a conspiracy theory, it's documented history that repeats over and over. America is at stage 5 right now, and what happens next depends on choices being made today. If this video opened your eyes to something you hadn't seen before, do me a favor. Drop a comment below telling me what stage you think America is really at, and share this video with someone who needs to understand these patterns. The algorithm pushes content that gets engagement, so your comments and shares literally help us reach more people. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button because we're going to keep diving deep into the trends that mainstream media won't touch. The question isn't whether empires follow this pattern, because history proves they all do. The question is whether America will be the first empire in history to recognize stage 5, make the hard choices, and reverse course before it's too late. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.